Folsom Lake to Lake Tahoe, your backyard, where freedom grows, oh, tall and strong as a cedar trees. It's Liberty in EDC.
Hey everybody, welcome to Liberty in EDC. I'm your host, Daniel Norman, and we are here with Felicity Carlson, who's running for Board of Supervisor District 2, as you guys can see. So, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
So first thing we always like to do is, we want to get to know you a little bit more. People don't care about what you know until they know, who you are, right?
Right.
So who's Felicity?
Okay, so Felicity, well, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm an internal auditor, I have a 6-year-old son, and I'm proud to be part of a family that's been in the county since the gold rush era.
Wow.
I'm 49 years old. I'll be turning 50 in May. And I've been on...
You definitely don't look it, that's for sure.
I like to get credit for every year that I have. I've been elected to boards since 1994. I have a lot of experience in professional associations, non-governmental associations, and I've been president. I've got a lot of leadership experience at the Association of Government Accountants, the Institute of Internal Auditors, Chambers of Commerce, and other groups. I love living in the county. I have a motorcycle license, and I used to ride in South County on some of those absolutely stunning roads. And I just think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I'm really, really happy and proud to be part of this community, and I want to help this community continue to have its beautiful quality of life.
That's great. So you said you're an internal auditor. So what's that exactly?
Well, an internal auditor is somebody who looks at what an organization's goals are, analyzes what the risks might be to achieving that goal, and then helps the organization figure out how they can mitigate those risks so that the organization achieves its goals.
Wow. So that probably helps you with doing government work too, I imagine.
It does. I've worked as both a government auditor and a private sector auditor. And this is where I think I have a lot of skills that I can bring to the county, because we have our goal, which is to maintain our rural quality of life. There are risks, for example, fire, loss of fire insurance. There's a risk of people not being able to afford to live in their homes or find another home. I mean, there's risk of the county being overdeveloped. There's a lot of risk to our way of life, but we know what our goal is, and so what I can help the county do is look at how we can make sure that we're going to achieve that goal.
Great, and I think that's a good segue into what are some of the issues that are important to you, or you see that are important to the people in District 2?
Yeah, well, one of the most important issues is public safety. This past year, I've been on the Cameron Park Community Services District Board of Directors. I was elected to that, and I was on the Fire and Emergency Services Committee. I was elected 3 days before the Paradise Fire came out. And my first question when I sat at the Fire and Emergency Services Committee was, how many homes in Cameron Park are signed up for our emergency alert system? And I was told that I need to go to the county to get that answer. So I went to the county. The county said, you need to submit a Public Records Act request. Long and the short of it is they don't know. They don't know. So if you, as a television station, wanted to ask how many homes in Placerville are signed up for Code Red, they don't have an answer. And to me, that's absolutely unacceptable. And I did some more digging, and it turns out that the county has accepted the cheapest contract possible. So they had a bid, and there were about 3 contracts, and they picked the cheapest one, and it was about $10,000 a year. That comes down to about 7 cents a person in the county. I like saving money, but I think we're all worth more than 7 cents.
So why is that a bad thing, going for the cheapest on that one?
Because I think it's so cheap that it literally doesn't even meet our needs. I mean, the request for proposals for these contracts should have a minimum requirement that the county is able to measure how many homes, how many residences are signed up in a given area. I mean, this is something that we should see as a dashboard on a website. You should be able to say, Placerville, how many homes? Let's look. This month it has this many homes. Then maybe there's a big campaign to get more people signed up, and it changes. So I think it's a checkbox that the county is like, okay, we've taken care of that emergency alert service, but I think it's actually not functional, and it's really just throwing $10,000 away out the window. Not only that, but that system is so not user-friendly that you've got very highly paid staff at the county who are doing data entry to help residents get their additional information in there. So I think the overage, my calculation is 25 to 50% a year. So it looks like it's a $10,000 contract, but with staff time, I think it's another 15 or 20. It's another $15,000 or $20,000 a year in total.
Wow.
That's not acceptable. So from a public safety standpoint, that is something I'm very concerned about.
Now, what does that do if that service isn't working? What happens?
So it's the same company. It's called OnSolve. It's the same company that Paradise, Butte County, Ventura County, Sonoma County. Actually, I'm not sure about Ventura, but Sonoma County, they've used the same system. And following the news, it didn't work for them. People were stuck in traffic jams. People died in their cars because they couldn't leave. The alert didn't happen timely. And we've been given a lot of reasons. Oh, it wasn't OnSolve. It was this, it was that. It was this unprecedented fire. We can have an unprecedented fire here. I want something, something that we can control is how many homes are signed up for it. And that's something we can do in the middle of winter when it's pouring rain. There's things we can do far in advance of an actual fire so that we're not stuck in a traffic jam. I want to know so that I want to be that person that leaves 7 times when really no fire got to my house, but the 8th time I left early and I was gone. And that clears the road up for the emergency vehicles. And another question that I had, and I still have, is what's the plan? What's the evacuation plan for the disabled people in Cameron Park? What is the plan for people who can't drive or don't drive for whatever reason? I know that the county has access to beautiful commuter buses, and there's lots of public transit buses, and I've been inquiring, and I've learned that the bus system does report to the Office of Emergency Services under an emergency. But nobody has presented a plan. And I think as I'm already an elected official.
Yeah.
I think that we as elected officials and members of the public deserve some more respect and transparency on what is the plan to get people out.
Yeah, that definitely sounds really important. I mean, for sure. Safety, that's a big thing. We don't want to be left in the lurch when we need something like that to work. Is there any other issues that are important for you?
Yeah, I think that people here in the county have, again, an idea and a vision of what they want in the future in terms of public infrastructure here, in terms of how many more homes are going to be built, in terms of the impact on roads. And I think that what's happening is that the county's direction is being driven by outsiders. I think that the outsiders are from Sacramento, they're from the federal government, they might be folks from Southern California that want to develop here. And at the same time, what's happening is that there are people here in the county. A typical family in the county lives on about $84,000 a year, a family of 4. And I don't see why the county should be allowing more homes to be built if a typical family can't afford to own it or rent it. And that's not been the pattern. That's not been the case. So there's a lot of resources available right now, and it's not going to be available forever. That I think people in the community, we need to get together, get some technical assistance, and envision what kind of homes we want and where, how many, not too many, we can't overwhelm the infrastructure, and we need to start driving that process. Because what's going to happen if we don't is that Sacramento is going to drive that process. People from Southern California are going to drive that process. We have the capability of doing it. And I have the skill set to be able to enable that. So I think I can really help the county help its own vision be achieved.
Do you know how much of a gap there is between the typical home that's being built now and what a typical family income is for El Dorado County?
That's a good question. So I don't have exact numbers, so I don't want to claim exact numbers. But I do know that a home in the newer homes that are being built are I believe they're being sold for maybe $750,000 to $1 million or so, and that a family here needs a home that's more in the under $500,000 range, maybe even $250,000 range. So there's a big disconnect there, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. Well, I mean, not every home is $500,000 and up in El Dorado County, right?
The new ones, I believe, are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of the new ones
And I
being
have
built.
heard from developers that one of the reasons that they are so high is because our fees are so expensive. The county fees are very expensive. So
Right.
there is a bit of a conundrum, but we need to figure out what we're going to do. Do we want to if the new homes, are they only going to be super expensive? I just don't think that's what we need. We don't need to be kind of a colony for the Bay Area. So is there something we can do about the fees? Is there something else that we can do to make these? And there's a lot of resources available, like I said, but we need to understand how that works and get in front of it. There's also a lot of new laws that are happening. I've encouraged people to research Senate Bill 35 from 2017.
Which one's that?
That one is a law that says if a county does not have zoning and homes for the moderate to lower income levels, if a developer comes in and makes a proposal that fits objective criteria, they can go ahead and build it. So I'll give you an example. The city of San Bruno in the Bay Area, they rejected a 400 unit, and that's way bigger than whatever happened here. But the city of San Bruno City Council rejected a 400 unit apartment building, even though the community had actually been behind it. There was a lot of community input. It had a little cafe and it had maybe a little grocery store. But last minute, and it had gone through the planning commission and it had been approved. And last minute, the city council rejected it. And then the developer was really surprised and they weren't able to sell the land and they were stuck with it. Under Senate Bill 35, they proposed a 600 unit building with no grocery store and it's going to get built, is my understanding. So my point is, if we're not going to have 600 units here, but developments that we don't want as a community might get built just because we're thinking that we can say no. The rules of the game have changed. So we need to get in front of that and say, what do we want? And this is going to be the same with another topic is homeless shelters. The state is going to be coming in and possibly developing homeless shelters. So I think the county's smart. We've got a heart. Let's figure out how we want to do it and make it work for us instead of being dictated.
Hi, my name is Jeff Gutierrez, one of the owners of True Value Hardware on Missouri Flat Road. My parents are the original owners and bought the store 36 years ago. I grew up in the business and had my first day at 12 years old. The first customer I went up and asked for help, he said, "Yeah, go get someone older." I still get that response today, but now it's a compliment. Steel and John Deere are rated the best in their respective industries. And here at True Value, we have the benefit of carrying and being the local dealers for both of those products. I've always looked at being a salesman as you got to love what you sell. If you love what you sell, it's not gonna feel like it's a job. You're just getting the right equipment for the customer. The great thing about our store is you can do everything through the store here. We have a repair shop, we have rentals. If you don't know how to use it, we go over everything when you rent the product. I myself am a new homeowner, so I am getting an idea of everything that I need for home renovations. Everybody's got a different job and we want to be a part of that job and help them through that job. It's very important for us to have a happy staff. Our staff is an extension of us. We support a lot of families through this business, and that's what I love. I love it when a customer comes in and says, "Hey Jeff, I need this," or "Hey Brian, I need this." It kind of warms my heart to know that our store has such a footprint in the community. We try to support our community in many different ways, and one of those ways is through donations. We definitely help out all of the local schools. We support Relay for Life, local youth sports, Eagle Scouts, Toys for Tots, many different organizations. It's important for us to be a part of the community and to really make an impact in people's lives.
Yeah. Do you kind of have an idea how you would want to see that be solved?
The homeless issue?
Sorry, actually, take it back a little bit to the housing. How do we make sure that do have enough affordable housing so the state isn't coming in and we have these big developers who are just throwing huge unwanted housing development projects at the county?
Yeah, and I have a couple ideas. And one thing that I'll say, aside from a development being something maybe we hadn't envisioned is it might be one that does not pay taxes in the county. I think it would be preferable to have a project that does pay taxes. And this is kind of complex, but this is something that we can drive as residents. So some of my ideas include getting a better count of the existing accessory dwelling units in the county. I know that county staff are actually working on that now.
Okay.
But there are a lot of accessory dwelling units, granny flats in the county. So getting a good count, because those count towards the state mandated moderate and lower income housing. So get a good count on that, and then take a look at going forward. If new houses are being built, it's a trend right now to build what's called multi-generational housing, which means building housing with an accessory dwelling unit in it already or attached. It's much more flexible. You know, if you're older, you can rent out the other part, or your family can live in there, or you're younger, you can live in the small part when you're going to college, or so maybe the county can look at I don't know how it works, but giving better points or better preference to a project that has built-in multi-generational units, because again, those units would count towards the county's what the state is saying the county has to have. So that's one idea. Another idea is that there is grant funding right now for farm worker housing. I realize this is potentially controversial and it needs to be well vetted so that if it's going to be coming in, people understand that this is a benefit for the families that would be living in it, and it would be voluntary for them to live in it. But there's farm worker housing. We're an agricultural county. We've got wine, we've got apples, we've got some of the best, most beautiful produce in the world, and that's, again, why a lot of us live here or visit here. Well, you can't have apples and wine if you don't have people to pick the grapes, pour the grapes, pick the apples, process the apples. And those folks are probably not going to be living in an $800,000 home in El Dorado Hills. So what I've heard is that a lot of the existing farm worker housing is it needs to be updated, and there's not enough of it. So I work for the state, and I see a lot of the applications going in for various forms of housing finance. I never see anything from El Dorado County. I don't see anybody here applying for farm worker housing grants, and I'm kind of confused, honestly. There's another grant that's an infill infrastructure grant that would help. You could bring sidewalks to several parts of Cameron Park with this infill infrastructure grant, and in the process, you would update existing multifamily units and make them more fire safe. Why are we not trying to make that happen? It just seems like there's a disconnect. I don't think people in Placerville necessarily, I think there's some really great people in Placerville and hardworking, smart staff there, but I don't think they're necessarily in touch with what's available at the state right now, and that there's a way to meet our needs, and that those resources are not always there at the state, and they're going to go away eventually because all the other counties are applying for them.
I mean, is there any downside to using those?
Well, there's
the
a lot
grants
of
or just going after them.
There's always lots of going after them. It takes a lot of work. I mean, it is not easy. You probably need what is called technical assistance to even apply for the grants. You need to know what you're doing, and you definitely need to have input from the community. We do not want to apply for grants when we don't have input and buy-in from the community. But you need technical assistance to probably apply for them, and then it's reporting for up to 55 years that these projects are still housing the level of income that you promised. So it is some management. But I think the upside is far outweighs the downside, because we need some more quality housing for people in the county who live and work in the county.
Okay. Why do you want to run? Like, why is that something that you want to do? And not only because of the issues, but personally for you. Like, why do you want to be that public servant?
That's a good question. Why do I want to run for county supervisor? The first thing is that I've been really frustrated over the past year on the level of response regarding the fire alert service. As a member of a community services district, and again, a mom and somebody with a family and somebody who lives next to 20 vacant acres that could burn up, I feel like we need to really pay better attention to the emergency alert system. And another member of the community pointed out to me that the county's website has about 7 different pages that you go to find out what to do in case of an emergency and how to prepare for an emergency. It's not user friendly. So for me personally, I mean, it's, you know, I do work for the state. I can just keep working for the state. That's fine. I'm fine doing that. But I think I really have something to offer the county, and I feel like the county's in a really critical place right now. That we, like I said, I think that there's ways to protect and preserve the way that our county is, but we need to open our eyes and we need to engage and have a place at the table at the state. And I feel like I'm able to do that.
Great. Something I want to ask too is a big thing for El Dorado County is like, you know, what type of growth do you see? You know, what type of growth would you like to see, you know, happening in the county as far as new development and stuff like that?
Okay, so I think that the kind of growth in the county should be really not more than we can handle in terms of infrastructure. And any growth should be something that the people who live and work in the county can access. So again, if a family in the county, a typical family of four, lives on about $84,000 a year, or an individual lives on $60,000 a year, and I think these numbers are a bit skewed, maybe a bit high. They're higher on the western end of the county than the central and eastern parts. But I just don't see why we should have development that a typical person in the county can't access. We live in too beautiful of a place. We definitely don't need to see development in the extreme high fire zones. That just puts all of us at danger, and it puts our public safety personnel at danger too. So it needs to be smart. It needs to be only where there's the infrastructure to handle it, and not where there's extreme fire danger.
Now, when you look at the voter registrar list and you're on there and you're like the lone Dem on, you know, for going for the 2nd district. So I know, I mean, El Dorado County is like notoriously red. So I know a lot of people in El Dorado County might see that on the ballot and be scared. So what would you tell them?
So it's a nonpartisan office. So they're going to see, I believe, 6 names, but they're not going to see any party preference after the names. Yeah. And this office should be nonpartisan. We have enough divisiveness right now in the country and in the state. And I pledge when I'm in office not to use it as a partisan office. I mean, I want to be there so that I'm working with everybody in the county. I've really enjoyed the last couple of weeks. I've been able to speak with Republicans and the Tea Party group and Democratic women and the Taxpayers Association. And I'm really impressed with the level of engagement of people in the county. And I'm a fiscal conservative. So I think that I'm hoping that what people are going to see is that I'm a fiscal conservative and I'm about accountability and transparency, and I have a vision for the county, and one that engages some of the resources available to us that we're not currently using, so we can achieve our vision. And I mean, what's interesting though is I am the only female on the ballot, and that'll be a bit more obvious because I'm the only one with a female name. But I think one other really important aspect is that I'm the only person with a young family. And that's something, you know, I saw the Board of Supervisors the other day vote in a way that I thought was very family unfriendly. And I think I brought it up to them, and I think they didn't even realize it because they're not thinking that way. And it was whether or not parents can drop their children off at a parking lot for a school bus that is by a library. And there was a new ordinance so that they prohibiting parents from dropping off and picking up children. The ordinance said during drop off and pick up hours. So I compared it to the hours of the library. The hours of the library are not during drop off hours. The library doesn't even open until 10 a.m. or noon. Some days it doesn't even open, but drop off is like 7:15 in the morning. So I asked the Board of Supervisors, can you strike the drop off and change it to during library hours? Compromise. I felt like that's, you know, don't upset the library patrons, but since the library patrons aren't there at 7:15 in the morning, let's just leave it alone. So unfortunately they didn't take my request, but I feel that, you know, as a parent, and there are lots of families in this county, as a parent, I am going to be more instinctively recognizing the need for better playgrounds and school bus drop-offs and things like that.
So where can people find you online, or if they want to get involved in your campaign?
Yeah, great.
What's all your contact stuff?
So my website, the campaign website is electfelicity.com. And there's a form on there for people to sign up if they'd like to volunteer. There's a form for making donations. I encourage people to go to the county elections office and look at the county elections office and ask for the information from all the candidates on where the donations come from. We all have to file periodic reports, and that way that's encouraging transparency and accountability. Everybody can see where the donations are coming from for the various candidates.
Oh, I didn't know that. Do you actually have to go in person, or can you call, or
to obtain that information?
Yeah,
I don't know, because I haven't tried, but I'm hoping that you can call, and they should be able to email you the information. But I can't speak for the county.
Yeah, we'll probably do a little research and throw some graphic up to let people know what's available out there.
Yeah.
So what's the website again?
electfelicity.com.
Okay, great. Is there anything else you want to add before we close out?
I can't think of anything. I will when I drive home.
Oh, okay. No worries. Great. So thank you for coming in. And so this is Felicity Carlson, and she's running for the Board of Supervisors in District 2. And I'm Daniel, your host. This has been Liberty in EDC. You can catch us on Comcast Channel 7 up here, or also youtube.com/Foothill7TV. And we'll see you guys next time.
Hi, I'm Rick Rowe, owner of Placerville Polaris and Power Tools. I've owned and operated Placerville Polaris since 2007. If you'd like to experience the off-road, or if you have property in our community, come on in. Let's see what we can build for you. We are your one-stop shop for off-road fun. We do it all, from building your dream toy to decking out your razor. We are complete with a full shop, and we proudly service all our products, including our power tools. We carry only the best top quality brands, and we have everything you need for taking care of your property and maintaining your 100-foot defensible fire space. Building off-road vehicles is a passion of mine that I take very seriously. I like to be personally involved in building your dream toy from start to finish. Here at Placerville Polaris, we do a lot of testing for the manufacturers to ensure you get the proper accessories to fit your specific needs. One of my favorite parts is test driving to maximize satisfaction and quality. Come on in. Let's see what we can build for you.